This Bitcoin chart right over here has literally never been wrong before, and it is about to flash a 4-year Bitcoin bottom cycle. I will tell you guys exactly what this indicator is, how it works, and why this is going to be right again. I hope. Otherwise, screw you, indicator. But anyway, we're going to be diving into this indicator. And as well, guys, we have a new indicator that just came out. Not even the experts know about this indicator. This indicator is so extremely accurate that it predicts every single cycle bottom pretty much on the day. I'm going to explain how this works with these nice circles, and you're going to blow your mind. And at the end of the video, we have one more mystery chart here as well that we're going to be using and applying to those two charts. So we have a bunch of content in this video, guys. Make sure to watch it until the end, guys. Let's dive here straight into the first chart. And guys, the chart that I just got here and I just found here, this one is absolutely amazing. Just a 10-10 chart. The person that made this is an absolute genius. So basically, this is how the chart works. So this person combined basically all of the top Bitcoin indicators, the on-chain indicators, just the normal TA indicators. They combined them all together into this amazing indicator, and it basically shows you a heat map when all these indicators are flashing a top. You see right over here that this indicator gets red, and the moment that you go into a bear cycle, this indicator cools down, and inside these blue areas, that's historically where Bitcoin would find its cycle bottom. So to start off here, we go all the way back here to 2013, and what you can see again here is that on this exact cycle top, you can see that all of these indicators turned red, the heat map turned red, and then the Bitcoin price had this move here to the downside, and then you got inside this blue area, you broke here below about 2 here on the indicator, the level of 2, and then eventually we recovered here back to the upside. The same thing right over here at this top right over here. So you can see everything turned extremely red, the Bitcoin price had this collapse here to the downside, and eventually it turned here into this dark blue area. This is where Bitcoin found its bottom, and then eventually moved here to the upside. Same thing happened over here in this cycle, again went inside this blue area, broke here below 2, and then over here on this cycle, well, to be honest, guys, this cycle was a little bit more disappointing. I was expecting 200,000, a lot of indicators were predicting 200,000, but AI, gold, it just took away so much attention from Bitcoin, and to be honest, there are just a lot of scams going around, the altcoin hype just wasn't really there, and overall this cycle was just a little bit disappointing, but we did get 2 signals right over here flashing that this was going to be the all-time high. Now the crazy thing is that most of the 4-year cycles, generally speaking, they were all wrong. And this indicator specifically was one of the only few indicators that did actually predict a warning here about this all-time high happening. Now we have a second indicator that we're going to be talking about here later here in this video, and that indicator also predicted basically the exact top, but just looking at the on-chain data, it's very clear that we got here 2 warning signals, and again we crashed here to the downside. Now anyway, every single Bitcoin bottom, you basically break here below this level of 2. I mean, look at that right over here. Look at that, exactly below 2. I mean, that's just insane. Right over here, the FTX crash. And then over here, this cycle again crashed below 2. And then this cycle as well here just broke below 2. So when these indicators all cool down, all together right over here, you break below 2. And that's where these cycles find its bottom. Now, the sad thing is that we are currently trading around level 3. Now, let's look at what happened the last time in the last cycle when we were around level 3. So right over here, this color over here, we still had one more correction to the downside, as you can see right over here. So we had one more correction, and then we broke below 2. We went sideways here, and then eventually we recovered. And then the same thing happened right over here as well. Right over here, we were at 3, but we still had one more correction to the downside. And then as well, right over here as well, we were trading around 3 right over here around this level, and look at that, we had one more major correction to the downside. So we are still not, according to this indicator, on where historically Bitcoin would find its bottom. We still have to go and have one more correction to the downside. All of these indicators have not cooled down enough yet, and they're still indicating that we're going to get one more correction. Now this doesn't have to go that low, like 50,000 US dollar, and I mean we can literally stay there for a couple of weeks, guys. This is not the end of the world. Everything is going to be fine. But again, one correction here, according to this indicator, is potentially very likely. Now, what we also have to look at, and guys, this is something that you guys have to understand, is that every single cycle we broke here about 70% here, 80% to the downside. So this was here 77% or 78%, again, very close to 80%. Right over here, this was 84%, and right over here as well, I mean, look at this. This was over here about 87%, but without the wick, about 81%. So again, most of these cycles, you see that Bitcoin crashes to 80% to the downside. And even though these cycles have diminishing returns, again, the previous cycle as well crashed very close to 80%. Currently, we're only down here about 50%. So we've crashed here about, in total, what is it, 52%. So even on the conservative side, if we crash something like 65% to the downside, that's going to bring us to about 43,000 US dollar, which is still approximately a 30% move here to the downside. Now, according to this indicator, we are still going to be seeing that. So again, we have to have one more move here to the downside like this. This indicator would break here below 2, and then you have a recovery here back to the upside. Now, this is where the second indicator is going to come into place, because the second indicator we're going to be talking about exactly fits this specific scenarios, and it's going to give us a very nice, clean answer to when this bottom is going to be taking place. Now, before we're going to talk about this indicator, I also have at the end of the video a third mystery indicator. So if you made it all the way until this part of the video, guys, at the end of the video, I have one more mystery indicator, and I can apply that indicator to both of these two indicators that I've just analyzed right over here. So make sure to watch this video until the end. If you are a Bitcoin holder, this is going to be extremely important. Again, thank you guys for watching the video so far, but let's dive into the second indicator. Now, this indicator just came out very, very recently. So this is a very new and exciting indicator, a new development, and not even the experts really know about this. So it's going to blow your mind. But you can see over here, these are very nice circles. So basically, a Bitcoin cycle is exactly one big circle right over here, exactly 4 years. Now, the crazy thing about this is that every single one of the Bitcoin cycle exactly takes 4 years. I mean, pretty much exactly 4 years. It is just absolutely crazy how these cycles play out. So right over here from the bottom from 2025, right over here to the bottom in 2000, and this was 2018, and then right over here, 2022, and then right over here, 2026. So again, all of the cycle bottoms are exactly 4 years apart. Now, look at this. Now, this is where it gets insane. This indicator right over here is predicting that we are going to be bottoming around October 2026. Again, this is the exact number that we have been talking about in many of my videos. 2026 is where I'm going to calculate that the Bitcoin price will likely bottom. Now, what you guys can see here is that we still have a couple more months to go. So we still have room here to crash here further to the downside. We still have enough room to do something like this, and then eventually bottom here, and then recover like this right over here back to the upside. This would scare a lot of the new holders, a lot of people that have been holding for, I don't know, a year, but most of you guys, if you have been holding for a much longer time, you understand that these type of things are very possible in the Bitcoin space. And again, like most noobs, most of you guys were probably not really panicked by this because it's just very short. It takes just about 2-3 months, and then the Bitcoin price just recovers like that. But this is the type of scenario that we can be expecting. Again, we're only down here about 50%, and even if we go down about 65%, we can still hit here about 50 to 40,000 US dollar. Now, what's very interesting about this indicator is that you have this cycle top that also here exactly takes 4 years here to play out. So from the top, every single time is exactly 4 years. You can see this here with these circles. So all of these circles, they are the exact same size like that. Now, the absolute crazy thing is again, the cycle top to the cycle bottom exactly tends to take 1 year. So what you can see here that this indicator right over here starts from the cycle bottom. And these cycles, these circles here, they are split up in 2 cycles. So the cycle is split up here, but then you have 4 smaller cycles and each of these cycles. So basically there are 2 very important years that you have to keep in mind. So basically from the cycle top to the cycle bottom is always exactly 1 year. So cycle top right over here, boom, to the cycle bottom is exactly 1 year. So you can see here, this is the smaller circle. So right over here as well, the cycle top to the cycle bottom is exactly 1 circle. So the same thing is probably going to happen out. So from the cycle top to the cycle bottom again is exactly 1 small circle. Now here is where it gets super, super interesting. So stay with me right over here. The last year, right over here before you hit the top. So as you can see, right before you hit the top, this year as well is a very important year because this is the parabolic move. So you can especially see this very clearly in 2017. So basically you hit here the cycle bottom. So again, you have 2 years here of the Bitcoin price just going sideways, not really doing an awful lot. But then right over here, 2 years into the cycle, what you get is you get a parabolic move. So this year, generally speaking, this has the major uptrend here to the upside. So you can see that this is when the Bitcoin price absolutely exploded. Now, on the logarithmic chart, it just looks a little bit plain, it looks a little bit simple. But if you go here to the regular chart, it makes a lot more sense. So look at this. So you have basically the Bitcoin price here bottoming out, and then for 2 years, a slow grind to the upside, parabolic move, and look at this. That's where you have this major move to the upside, and then the year ends, just like that, the year ends, you have 1 year of Bitcoin bear market, boom, like that, and then a new cycle happens. Again, 2 years of boring sideways action, and then at the end, boom, right over here, parabolic move, you have this major uptrend to the upside. Just look at that, major parabolic move. Again, from the parabolic move to the cycle top takes exactly 1 year, then again 1 year bear market bottom, and so you get here the cycle bottom, and here you see the same thing. So right over here we got the parabolic move. Again, because of AI, because of gold, because of everything going on, we didn't see a significant rally. We were expecting it, we were hoping for it, but we just didn't really get that. Just the hype wasn't there, just a little bit unlucky. But again, we still saw that the price right over here almost doubled in valuation, very, very close. So again, cycle top and cycle bottom takes exactly 1 year. And after this, we're going to be looking at about 2 years of slightly boring sideways action, but we can slowly grind here back towards the autumn high, which means maybe somewhere around next year, we're going to be starting to move very close to the autumn high again. We get that parabolic move kicking in, and then we're going to fly higher. Now, depending on a lot of stuff, this is just a TA video, so it depends a little bit on the Federal Reserve, the deficit and things along those lines. What is really going to happen with Bitcoin if inflation is going to spiral out of control? Those are going to things that are going to impact the next cycle. But again, just specifically talking about where the bottom is going to be, we have here October here of this year. Now, if you've made it all the way until the end, guys, if you want to know these exact indicators, I do have a link in the description and you can check them out there. So if you made it all the way until the end of the video, make sure to check out the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe as well. Before we get into the mystery indicator, guys, I make videos here. If you enjoy these videos, I make them for free. I make a new Bitcoin chart video. I try to make one every single day with new and exciting charts. So by subscribing, you help support the channel. Now, let's dive here into the last chart. And this is a chart that is very simple. And everybody knows about this indicator, but sometimes simplicity can lead, because sometimes you can see all these beautiful, colorful charts and you're like, that's great, you know, some very great inventions, but sometimes it can be really, really simple. Now, if we just look here, for example, at the RSI here on the weekly chart, there's something that a lot of people are forgetting about. A lot of people are not really talking about this. Everybody's focused about Michael Saylor and everything along those lines and inflation and what the Federal Reserve can do. But let's just look here at the RSI and what this has historically done. Every single time when we hit here the weekly oversold, look at that, right over here, that's when Bitcoin finds its bottom. We saw it here in 2015, we saw it here in 2018, we saw it here in 2022, and now again, we are hitting this weekly oversold. Now, what you guys can see in 2022, we did here have the FTX drama. We did have one more mover to the downside. That's also the first chart is still predicting. But again, historically, once you hit that weekly oversold, there's really not a whole lot to be worried about, because once you hit that, yes, you can still break here below the low, but basically at that point, the bear market is pretty much finished. The major correction, the biggest capitulation is basically over that point in time. And at that point, you can start looking at accumulating Bitcoin. But what you can also see over here is that you got a clear move here to the downside, and this created here a very nice divergence, which means the price went lower and the RSI went up. Now, in case, what you guys can kind of see right now that is kind of happening is that we did break here below this low, and currently the RSI is higher, so a divergence is currently forming. Now, what we can potentially see is that the price goes a little bit lower, something like this. We see the RSI slightly again touching here the oversold level, but again creating a very nice divergence where Bitcoin can eventually kick here back here further to the upside. So again, if you combine all of this together, is creating a divergence right over here on the weekly RSI, having the bottom around October here, and having all of these indicators, again, all cool down, all of them reset, go here towards level 2, and eventually move it to the upside. We can kind of say that the cycle bottom could be somewhere here around October here of this year, which is approximately 5 more months, very soon about 4 months. But we can generally see that this Bitcoin cycle can still go a little bit worse. We're now in the period where everyone is worried and everybody is crying, and a lot of people are in a loss or just lost a lot of profits. So this is generally the hard part of the bull run, but just stay with it for a while, wait until October ends, and look at what eventually is going to happen to the Bitcoin price, because a potential recovery is going to happen. Again, if you are new to the space, I know a lot of you guys are not new to the space, you're not worried, but if you are worried for any kind of reason, you guys can again see here that the price generally just recovers here. These circles, there is a new cycle that is eventually coming, and that is how Bitcoin likes to move. And so with that, I'm really not that worried. And if you want to see out more charts, I try to post one every single day as well here on my X account. I have a link in the description for you guys to check out as well. With that, I want to end this video, guys. Again, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe. I try to make a video like this every single day, and I hope to make another amazing video here tomorrow and give you guys more charts and more interesting stuff. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hope to see you guys here in my next video. Bye-bye.